Happy Win Day. Happy Win, W-I-N, not W-I-N-D. And a happy Wine Day, W-I-N-E. And happy Wednesday. It is, my gosh, it's the next to the last day in this month, which means we are at the half year mark. And hopefully you all are keeping an account of, how much business you're doing, how you're doing. Seems like everything's working here. Good. We hit the 5,000 mark. Unbelievable. We have 5,038 single family homes for the first time. In a couple years, I can't remember. I guess I should check when the pandemic occurred, but I think people probably took their homes off the market. So that, maybe for a day, I don't know, but so exciting. We have 54 days of inventory. And that means we're going to maybe the market's just going to chill a little bit, and we're going to get back into some realistic prices. We're going to hear Brian Buffini's bold predictions today and what Dr. Young, we're going to talk about what Dr. Young has to say. We're not going to listen to it today, but I encourage you to listen to it, and I will post it. Excuse me for that. In the group. So anyway, I did go through the report. We're going to go through that today. And we're going to talk about Instagram Reels. We have a little tip for you. So lots of exciting things today. We have 1,726 homes on the market that are in the medium price range and under. And we just listed 46 of those yesterday. We did 154 listings yesterday, which is incredible. I love that. Geez, those $1 million homes, they cut back maybe a little bit, not even enough to talk about, from 5.49 to 5.36, still 5 and a half a day almost. So we'll see what happens there. We have been selling in June 106 homes a day. Now that's down from the year-to-date average of 123, but then we have tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of the month on the 30th. A lot of homes closed, and we'll be able to see exactly what happened on Friday, because Friday is the 1st of July. So that'll be exciting, because sometimes the first starts in the weekend, and then I can't report it till Monday. But so Friday we will know how we did for the first half of the year, what the average daily sales were, and what we can possibly look forward to in the next 6 months. Let's see. The investors went down a little bit. They're less than 30% of our sales right now. So I think they're kind of maybe standing on the sidelines doing some wait and see what's going on. But we'll see, because again, the end of the month tomorrow, maybe we'll just up that number again over 30%. Love our market. Homes are still selling. You closed 87 yesterday, which is pretty terrific. And we have done 2,975 sales this month. Nothing to sneeze about. That is really awesome. What Dr. Young said is that we have more agents now, but they have less experience. And with those additional new agents, I think an additional 100,000 agents, it has lowered the average income of a real estate agent down to $33,000. It used to be up to 36. It was hedging up there at one point, just for a small interim, almost 38. But anyway, 33,000. So we have more agents, but they have less experience overall. It's reduced our average age. And because they don't have the experience, and there were so many of them, it did bring down the average income. So anyway, that's that. I don't know that means a lot, except that we have to make sure we're educating them. The other thing I wanted just to say briefly is the iBuyers. They're out there, and they're in that sweet spot for the most part of the median range homes. And if you're looking for a farm, I was talking to a new agent yesterday. If you're looking for a farm, you might want to get above that sweet spot for the iBuyers, because they do 9 to 10% of the market, and that's a big share. That's a big share of the market. So we might want to, if you're going to farm, maybe farm above that. Now, buyers, if you're a buyer's agent, fantastic, and hopefully you're finding those buyers. But if you're a listing agent, I would maybe get my farm a little bit above that mark. So let's move on here to some more exciting news. There, the Ryan Buffini's real estate report, and I've listened to it several times. It's pretty daunting, and what he did. Let's see if I got it right. I think so. What he did is he created a report, and I think he changed his strategy a little bit. So he doesn't have this on YouTube yet, but I did a walkthrough of the report, and I'm going to put that in the group. And also, if you're in the group or you are an Agent Formula member, we're going to email you this report. So if you go to agentcare@agentformula.com, we will email you the report. I'm going to just kind of walk you through it real quickly because I think it's important. So, of course, we always have to give him credit. We always have to give him credit. Come on. Move. Offered for free. Moving slowly. Is it moving?
A lot of research.
Yeah, okay. And so here's Brian, right, in his table of contents, the state of the market, a regional snapshot. I love this one, recession-proof your money, and mortgage stats, today's buyer, today's seller, the best investment, and then, of course, he always puts in why I work by referral, because when you send this out to your sphere of influence, and we're going to post it in the blog for the for July, and this is exciting. So for tomorrow, tomorrow and Friday,
he includes the state.
Your database will get it. Then he goes into the state of the market with new construction, and the new construction home builds. So as of April 2022, 1.72 million new homes have been built, and new home builds. And then the single family homes were 1.1 million. Now that's down 7% from last year. Because why? Well, lumber prices, mortgage rates, labor prices, and the average price of a new home has increased by more than 18.7% over the past year. And that's basically due to the increase in labor and the increase in lumber and other materials. So the housing inventory as of April 2022 was 5.6 million available homes, and that is a 19% year over year increase. Okay, existing home sales 5.61 million, and that's 5.4% year over year decrease. So when you look at the median home price across the United States, it's $375,000, and that's an increase of 13% year over year. So if someone's moving here from somewhere else and they're selling their home, they probably have some equity, and that is going to help them with the down payment, because people live in the payment, they don't live in the price, and so they probably have more money to put down to live in that payment. And then as interest rates, as you know, go up and down, they can always refinance at another time. Don't forget to, send that message out to people. And then he goes on to talk about the regional market snapshot, which I always enjoy. And he says, although national trends may hit close to home, at the end of the day, real estate is local. And here's a look at the post-pandemic market rebound in each region. Midwest. So the existing home sales, 1.31 million, and that is a year-over-year decrease of 1.5% in the Midwest. Well, probably because I know people were moving there, but I thought that might be increasing, but it didn't. And then the median sales price is $282,000. Now that is an 8.7% year-over-year increase. So I'm not sure how that works, when things go down and then the other metric goes up. Then in the Northeast, you had 670,000 existing home sales. And that's almost 11% down year over year. So less homes sold in the Northeast. And that might be because there was an 8% year over year increase in the price. So maybe people don't want to move there. I don't know. What do you think? That's what it says to me. In the South is a very interesting part of our country because you've got Florida in there, then you've got some other inland states, and sparsely populated, a lot of them. So anyway, you've got 2.49 million existing home sales in the South, and that's almost a 6% decline. And then in the median sales price, that's $352,000, and that increased 22% year over year. So now, see, I don't understand why the existing home sales went down 6%, but the median sales price went up. See, I think those both should go up at the same time, but I'm not an economist, and I'm sure there's a reason, and I always want to know. And NAR does a detailed report. I think it comes out in November, so I'll have to make sure I research because they do it by region, and they always give what's going on in the region and why the numbers do show up the way they do. In the West, well, existing home sales 1.14 million, and that's an 8% decline over last year. The median sales in the West is higher than it is anywhere else, 523,000, and that is a 4% increase in that year over year median sales price. Now we're at 485, and of course you've got California median prices. It was up 800, yeah. So anyway, lots of stuff going on there. And these come from NAR, so these are from the MLSs accumulated all over the country. So let's move on a little bit here to see what is next. Okay, recession-proof your money. Well, now this is an interesting thing that I think if I was out there in real estate today, I would be doing some TikTok or some Reels, stories. Whoops, go back, sorry. About this, because basically it's saying many leading economists believe we're headed toward a recession, and it's defined as 2 months of a decrease in the GDP and in unemployment. So I think that because we don't have that unemployment figure in there, they're not calling this a recession, but it feels like a recession. And in 1948 was probably the biggest recession we've ever had. And it lasted the longest. It lasted a year and a half. And then in 2006, we had a recession. It lasted, I think I'm wrong on my date. Let me see if I have that. But it lasted just a few months. So, recessions are hard to gauge when you have the kind of market we have today. So we may feel like it's a recession because of inflation. However, people are still working. We're not having people being laid off, which is generally a first sign of a big recession. Now, Compass and Redfin did lay off employees, but they probably they didn't predict the market properly. So that's not the rest of the country. So anyway, we review the personal and business budgets, cancel subscriptions or other services you no longer need. That's a way to recession-proof your money. I know that over the past couple weekends, I've been looking at my business bill, my business credit cards, for instance, and I am canceling a lot of things. And you have to be careful because the credit card companies, though, I don't like annual subscriptions because you have to tell them in advance that you don't want it. But guess what? You forget about it. Well, I had forgotten about a big one. We had a videographer that billed us annually. And wow, when it hit my credit card, I'm like, whoa, no. So I called them. They were very nice. They did, back it out. of my credit card. But you have to be careful on those annual subscriptions. I like monthly subscriptions. I like to see every month what I'm paying for. And I mean, I know they say it saves you money. You'll save 10% if you sign up for the year subscription, but they get you because then they get you next year when you really didn't need it anymore, or didn't want it, or things like this happen, and then you're stuck. So I like those. I'll pay the couple extra dollars just to be notified monthly that I have a bill to pay. Anyway, you set a goal to save at least 6 months of personal reserves and 3 months of business reserves. Now, I think this is really critical, especially in real estate. I mean, forget the recession. If you're in real estate, I think this is like, you have to have this. If you're in real estate and this is where you get most of your money, you need to have at least 6 months of personal reserves. And then because you're running a business and you need advertising dollars, marketing dollars, your website, all those things, you need to make sure that you can pay your business bills for 3 months. And what this means is if we have no income, or we don't have as much income as we normally do. And now when the prices go down, that means that commissions go down. I saw some commissions the other day. I was looking for a friend of mine, a property, 2%. Yeah. I mean, 2.5% is one thing. 3% was great, but now some things are down to 2%. So that means that you have to dip into your reserve sometimes, because maybe you're selling the same amount of homes, but you're not making the same amount of money. And over time, that will take its toll. So you need to make sure that you have enough money in reserves. And then be informed by listening to trusted advisors and experts to make sound decisions. And that's one of the reasons why right now I'm doing the marketing tips for listings. Again, I'm all about making a plan, reverse engineering how much money you're going to make, so that you know how many contacts you have to make on a daily basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, the whole 9 yards, so that you can't hit a target you can't see. That's what Zig Ziglar says, and it's so true. So you have to know, how much money you need to make every month. And if it takes, let's say it takes 60 phone calls a week, or 100 phone calls a week, and you're not hitting your target, then you need to increase the number of phone calls you make, or the number of contacts, I should say, that you make. Your KPI, your key performance indicator, is the number of connections you make on a daily basis. That is your KPI. And that's very important when it comes to reverse engineering the money that you want to make. So then I listened to Brian Buffini. I listened to Tom Ferry. I listened to Mari Smith. I listened to Katie Lance. I listened to as many people as that aligns with my personal beliefs and my personal systems, and business systems. So you need to find those people as well. And why 2022 is different? Yes, the doorbell rang and the dogs went running. Anyway, why is it different? Unemployment is low, 3.6%, yet companies struggle to fill 11.4 million vacancies. Yes, this makes it different. And I was telling you that a few minutes ago. It's hard to predict. It's hard to call this a recession when we have so many jobs available. And of course, the pandemic changed that. They changed that tremendously. And then there's a high demand for housing existing. Yes, we still have pent-up buyers. We have millennials that want to buy. We have, we were saying in class the other day, there's 97,000 people in America that are over 100 years old. People are living longer, so they're not moving. I mean, if you're farming a senior community, they're not moving, right? Because they're living longer. So you have that going into it. You have the younger people coming up to buy homes, and then you have the older people not selling their homes. And then you have us in the middle that, well, what are we going to do? Sell our 2-story home and buy a single-story home? That's a good niche to go after for listings. Anyway, yeah, there's a high demand, and it still exists. And that's good for us in the real estate industry. And then consumers are still spending. Yeah, and we talked about this during the pandemic and right afterwards, that the savings, the trillions of dollars that people were saving, businesses and personals were saving, personal people were saving in their savings accounts versus what they had done prior. And it had increased something like 18%. So, people have been saving money, and that's a good thing. And so that's why 2022 is different. And then there is pent up demand for travel. Oh my gosh. Oh, can you see? I mean, even though gasoline is expensive, people are still want to travel. They figure out, okay, I'll cut my budget here, but I'm going to go to California and sit on the beach, or I'm going to go to Arizona, or I'm going to go to New York and see a play. People are still traveling. And it's amazing to me that the airlines are having an issue because I don't think they have enough people to handle the demand of the travelers. And of course, that's not always good for Vegas, right? We don't like that in Vegas. And let's see, I'm going to let me move this over here for just a second so I can read this. Yeah, it says, a recession is a period of significant economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced. After a fall in 2 or more consecutive quarters of gross domestic product, which is the total goods produced and the services provided in a country during 1 year. So a recession typically begins just after the economy reaches a peak of activity and ends as the economy reaches its trough, its lowest point. So, and we've had checkpoint recessions where they come and they go real quickly. I think if this is a recession, I think that's what's going to happen here. Because I think that we all kind of know why we have a recession when the price of gas is so high and we've got the supply chain issue. So I think we know these things are temporary. So I think my prediction, I'm not an economist, but I think it's going to be a check mark. Then you have, the U recession where it takes a while to get there and then it lingers and then it finally comes back up. That's a longer recession. And then you have the W, which you get into the recession, you come out of the recession, but then you go back in. A lot of times that's caused by world when the world isn't when there's a war, something like that happening. I remember that's happened a couple times in my life. So let's move on here.
And this
is like a ton of content for you to do reels and stories, and I'll repeat myself, and TikTok, because people are very, very interested in how to recession-proof their money, and it's not that hard. And then let's look at the mortgage stats. Despite mortgage rates increasing from last year, the demand is still high for those eager to buy a new home. Yeah, cool. Live in the payment, not the price. So if you have a home, $330,000 home, you put 20% down. The average right now, mortgage rate's at 6.03%. So the current average, though, is 5.23. And why is that's for the year? And then monthly mortgage savings when refinancing at today's current rate is $161. So when you refinance it. So if you have a higher rate and then you're going to refinance, you can bring that down. And that's based on perhaps like in 2008, they're saying it was 6.03. And right now it's at 5.23. And if you refinance, you can save $161. But I like to see all that on paper because I know it costs money to refinance. But the point here is that, look at this. Interest rates, they were at 6% in 2008. Then they went down and they hung around that 4% for a long time. And I think that maybe according to Dr. Young in this report, he thinks it's might get as high as 6.5. He thinks the mortgage industry is not going to let it get above 7. So we'll see. So the federal rate is different than the mortgage rate. That was one of the things that he explained, which I found to be interesting. So like the federal rate may have something to do with your credit card interest rate, but not necessarily affect the mortgage industry. And I know the mortgage industry is feeling some pain right now because there's no people aren't refinancing. I mean, look back here. I mean, a ton of homes were bought in 2008 and prior to that. And then they had all these, when it's about 2%, it's a good time to refinance. And so you had all that refinancing going on in the past couple of years. So they don't have that right now. So that's hurting the mortgage industry for sure.
We live in the payment, not
so
the
let's
price.
move on here.
You know,
see what our next slide is.
Increases in value.
Interesting information. Here's today's buyer. Now, today's buyer is
and today's buyer
created by the National Association of Realtors. And so they say in this competitive marketplace, buyers will need to be flexible in order to secure their dream home. We all know what buyers want. What they want easy and they want keys. And when a buyer knows what to expect, they're set up for a smooth, successful process. And so they want easy and keys. It's up to you to manage their expectations and say, okay, you know, there's many ways that this 14-page contract, or is it 12 pages? 12-page contract. There's many ways, and I think in the first 5 pages, you can get out of it 18 ways, the buyer and the seller. And a lot of that's the due diligence and the appraisal and the loan contingencies, and all those things play into the journey. So you need to prepare them for each step of the way. And I know that our contracts are tough. Some of our sentences are longer than the average human being can understand, which is 13 words in a sentence is what the average human being can understand. I know that in some of our pages, those sentences are like 50 words. I mean, how do you dissect that? Well, you have to figure that out, and you have to be able to explain it so there's no surprises. I always say surprises are for birthdays, and we don't want to have our buyers be surprised and, you know, think that their journey wasn't good, because at the end of the day, we want them to get their dream home, and we want them to have a happy journey getting it. So the home buying process in 2022 is 56 days, and that's reduced 28% year over year. So last year it was shorter, and then 40 days or less than 2021. So the past several years it's gone up and down a little bit. Of course, the pandemic played into that. And then the top buyer compromises. 27% of buyers compromised on the price. Well, we know that, right? For sure. We started out the year at $425,000, and now we're up to $485,000. So the only way that happens is because people bought those homes for more money. And then 21% of the buyers compromised on the condition of the home. Yeah, a lot of I listen to Tom Ferry all the time, and he interviews other agents across the country, and a lot of them eliminated. They inspected the home, but they put a cap on the amount that they were going of repairs they were going to charge the seller, depending on the inspection. So the other percentage here, 19% of buyers compromised on the size of the home. Right. Their budget was this, let's say $425,000, and the price went up to $485,000 for what they wanted, so they had to buy a smaller home. Yeah, that's how that works. And then the first-time home buyer statistics. This is interesting. 34% of all buyers compared to the 31% year over year. Excuse me. And 81% of millennials, which are ages 23 to 31, and 48% millennials ages 32 to 41 were first-time home buyers. Excuse me for just a second. And then what buyers want? Well, they want easy and keys, but also environmental friendly features are important to most buyers. Heating and cooling systems, they want efficiencies. We can get into solar another day. Commuting costs, that's become a factor now with the higher price of gas. And I know we all want to believe the price is going to go down, and it probably will. The price will probably go down, but for now, it's not. It's high. So people tend to take what's going on currently and make decisions based on their current situation. Energy efficient appliances. Yes, those hot water heaters that are energy efficient. And some of them now are the tankless ones. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're more energy efficient. And then drought-friendly landscaping. Yes, a lot of people are looking for that artificial grass and for shrubs and things that don't require a lot of maintenance. Keeps their price down. I think in Vegas eventually we're going to see where you're not going to see very much grass anymore, because we want to be very environmentally concerned about our water. So we'll see what happens there.
What is their?
But that's today's buyer.
What are they looking for? Well,
So now let's go in to see what today's seller is all about.
And we know
move my slide up here.
Would love to have a professional help you through that journey.
Move
They
along.
are professional,
There we go.
and they help make
Okay,
the journey
today's seller.
easier. And then
It's been a
there's
seller's market. Yay. Whether you're thinking of upgrading, downsizing, or moving to a new area, these latest insights will help you make the most informed decision possible. It was interesting. I was talking to John this morning. I was saying, oh my gosh, we're over 5,000 available homes for sale. Townhomes, condos, high rises. And, that's really fantastic. So there's people that are selling their homes. And why are they doing that? The interest rates are higher. These people aren't going to go rent, because their rents are going to be, almost the same as their mortgage in most cases. So for a similar home. So people are going to be buying. They're listing their homes because they want to sell their home, but they probably want to buy something. So it's a good thing. And we have 54 days of inventory. So their experience hopefully won't be like it was when we had what does Dr. Young say? You had 20 offers in 18 minutes. That's probably not going to be the case moving forward in the next 6 months. Let's see. Homes spent a median of 17 days on the market. 88% of recently sold homes spent less than a month on the market. Yeah, but now we have more days of inventory, so that's about doubled. Sellers received an average of 6 offers compared to 2021, when there was an average of 5 offers. And I think we know here in Vegas that wasn't the case, because we have in Vegas, you have to realize it's a different market, because we have 4,000 or 5,000 people moving here every month. So, you don't have that necessarily in Chicago or other places in the country like you do here. So you need to turn that off, baby, please. Thank you. Top reasons for selling: a desire to live closer to friends and family. That was 18%. Home was too small. Well, yeah, people are working from home. So that was 17%. And current neighborhood became less desirable. That was 11%. You know what I've seen in Vegas, because when I first moved here in the 80s, I bought a little home, and I went back to that home. And there was a period of time when the home sold and to investors. And so a lot of renters have pride of ownership. That's a good thing. But then there's some that don't. That's a bad thing. So anyway, when I went back to look at the home, I thought, oh my gosh, the neighborhood has changed. So then I went back a couple more years, and it was better again. So, you have those things that happen in older areas, but a lot of times they come back. But when it does become less desirable, and sometimes that means lots of different things. Too much to go into, really. But that surprised me, 11%. I would think it would be much lower. I love Vegas because Las Vegas is new. We're a new city. I came from Atlanta, Georgia. My gosh, Atlanta, Georgia has been around for a couple hundred years. So 90% of all homes sold in 2022 used a broker or real estate agent. Yes, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Even in this hot market, an overpriced property will still take longer to sell. 25% of sellers reduce their asking price at least once. And I think that we're seeing that here too, especially now. We're seeing a lot of price reductions. letting more people come into the market with the higher interest rates, because people want to move. They want to buy something. Don't forget that. Okay, and then I think we're going to wrap this up. I think the best investment. Buying a home is one of the most expensive investments you will ever make, but as your home appreciates in value, it will build up equity, which contributes to your net worth. Yes, the average net worth of a renter after 10 years is $6,000, and the average net worth of a homeowner after 10 years is $250,000. That is a big difference. When you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage, and when you are paying your own mortgage, you're not only gaining appreciation, but because you're paying a mortgage, you're paying down the principal, so you're gaining equity. And that's what makes that big difference. So 86% of all buyers believe owning a home is a good financial investment. 88% of millennials believe owning a home is a good investment. 71% of homeowners believe buying property in their zip code was a good investment. And year over year, national homeowner equity increased in 2022. This is a huge number, $3.8 trillion. I think if you Google how long does it take to count $1 trillion, it takes 30 years, 33 years. That's counting $1 at a time. There's a lot of zeros there. At 3.8 trillion, that is the national homeowner equity increase just this year from last year. That's huge. So when people sell their homes now, they have, more buying power. So you can't forget that. I don't want anybody to panic. This is not a panic situation. So per homeowner, the year-over-year equity increase was $64,000. So if you bought a home in Vegas in January, it cost you $425,000. It's worth $485 now. Right there's your $60,000. So, no matter where you live, that's about it. That's a huge increase. And I'm just talking 6 months. It's been, but for other parts of the country, it's a year. But Vegas, keep saying it's different. It's a different market. People want to be here. And then year over year increase of 32%. So that's a 32% increase in home equity year over year. That is a big increase. And I think that's why if you think of one thing that's going to fuel the market in the next 6 months, the next, let's say 2 years, is going to be the fact that people have equity in their homes. And so that gives them the ability to move, downsize, reduce their payment, even though the interest rates are higher, they're not that much higher, as you saw in the original chart. In 2008, they were 6%. So they just got low. But 6% is not that bad. I think Dr. Young said that when he bought his parents bought their first house, interest rates were 12%. And they came out okay because it's a long time investment. Now they did, and then they refinanced as soon as it went down. And they refinanced, he said, several times. So there's that. And then in most markets, a monthly payment is nearly the same for owning as it is to rent. So here's his example. And this, again, is a statistic accumulated from all the MLSs in the country. Typical rent is $1,295 per month in the United States today. A typical monthly mortgage payment on a $368,000 home is $1,400. So you got $100 difference. Not a big difference. Of course, you have to have the down payment. We know that. And hopefully, you've been saving your money. We saw that people have been saving their money. And if you have parents, let's say you're a millennial, and they've gained equity in their home, they might be willing to loan you some money for that down payment. And then there's all kinds of programs, too, that are coming back into the mortgage arena. So that is Buffini's bold predictions. And I really like the PDF that he did with it that I'm going to share with everybody because it explains this market so crispy clear. And when Brian Buffini and Dr. Young talked, they talked in talking points their talking points are really to the consumer. And to the consumer, about, why it's a good time to sell real estate, buy real estate, stay in that real estate market. It's still one of the best investments you can make. All right, let's move this baby down here. Again, I'm going to post that in the group. And I also sent an email, or you can email Kane for it as well at agentcare@agentformula.com. So one other thing we want to get into quickly today is we were talking Monday with Jimmy about all the listing strategies and to attract more business your way. Instagram Hyperlapse Reels are the first thing we're going to dive into today. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about the geo-targeted landing pages. That's probably, and then next week we'll do Facebook, Postcard Blitz, YouTube with Google advertising and TikTok ads. So we'll do a little bit of that. So let's look here. Instagram Hyperlapse Reels. So you go inside the Instagram Reels editor and you look for the tool on the left-hand sidebar that has to do with the speed of footage. And basically it is hyperlapse, which means fast forward or speed up. Take a friend to a home you've listed. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take a home. You're going to take a person to a home you've listed. They're going to hold your iPhone or your phone, your mobile phone, and they film you with the hyperlapse enabled. You tour the home from room to room. Okay. They point and gesture. No talking is required. They point to the kitchen. They point to the stainless appliances. And and what you're trying to do is you're just, when this gets hyperlapsed, okay, it's going to go like this and like that, because you want to have movement. And these reels are performing wonderfully, and they're very easy to make. So again, you don't have to talk. No talking. And you add some music from Instagram's audio library that's trending, and poof, it's off to the feeds. So here's some pro tips. You want to smile, and you want to use hands to point, like I was saying, to gesture to what you want the phone to point at after you do. So if you're going from room to room, now your friend back here, right, he's like, what do I do next? If you're going to point, you're going to like come this way, because you're inviting, you're actually not just talking to the person that's doing the video, you're talking to the people watching the video. So the gestures, hey, come with me. Let's go to this room. Look at that. And keep the viewer with you. And last, the person holding the phone should actually slow down their movements once in a while so viewers see fast and slow. And that gives more motion to the video. So there's a lot of innovations, that these Tom Ferry's coaching members are doing to their listings. And this is one that's really working for them. So the point is that the hyperlapse Instagram Reels, let me just put this up here so you can see it better. There you go. So the hyperlapse Instagram Reels, whereby you tour your properties, your homes, and you're on video. There's no talking. You don't have to talk. And you're doing incredibly well from a performance standpoint, right? Because you're going to practice, practice makes better. And so you get in on them with these tactics. And number one, it's so easy and it doesn't take long, to explain to your friend how to do it. And it's so important to be out there and to be innovative and show your sellers your value proposition, which kind of dovetails, I always say, with the marketing and how you're going to expose the property. And then you can show if you're doing a listing presentation, you can show them, here's something that I do that attracts a lot of people. And you can even share that with them. And if they're into Instagram, they can put it on their reels too. That's a little side tip. Our objective is to market a listing in such a way that generates more listing opportunities. So when other people see what you do, they're going to say, hey, I think I'm going to have Karen list my home because look at all these neat things that she does. So I guess I would be remiss if I didn't encourage you to post your listings as a listing also in other places, which we're going to talk about. Maybe I'll touch on that on Friday, and then we're going to show you how you do geo-targeting landing pages. And that is my favorite, because those last forever. I hope you had a good. I hope you have a good day today. It's Win Day, Wednesday, Wine Day, whatever you want to call it, and enjoy yourself. And the bold market prediction should give you confidence to go out there and say, "Look, we've got a great market. It's going to be even better. It's going to be easier, and we're going to continue to sell homes." And just a word of caution: there is that recession for us independent contractors. So have 6 months of personal savings and 3 months of business savings. And then you know what? If you're not educating yourself in this world today, you might as well hang up your shingle. I'm retired. And so don't forget to sign up at b.vegas tomorrow for a risk reduction class. So is your email phishing proof? Are your VPNs totally safe? Can malware invade your computer or phone? And can your passwords be hacked? Sign up before 10 o'clock tomorrow at be.vegas. You can come in, you can Zoom, which counts as live classroom, or you can come into the live classroom. We have free lunch for you if you do. And we'd love to see you. Jack Lindbergh is the industry expert that teaches this class tomorrow. And so sign up, and we'll see you then. Have a wonderful day.